Welcome back to my inner sanctum. I am your hostess, Countess Elizabeth, mistress of the macabre. Natural disasters are just one way of nature trying to keep man on his toes. People tend to forget those active volcanoes that lie dormant for years, until disaster strikes and danger erupts. Today, my fiends, we will look into one such volcano that some should have taken more seriously, the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens. So, let us take cover and evacuate so we can explore our grotesque curiosity. On March 27, 1980, a series of volcanic explosions and pyroclastic flows began at Mount St. Helens in Skamania County, Washington, United States. It initiated a series of phreatic blasts from the summit, then escalated. And then finally, on May 18, 1980, there was a major explosive eruption. This eruption had a volcanic explosivity index of 5 and was the most significant to occur in the contiguous United States since the much smaller 1915 eruption of Lassen Peak in California. It has often been declared the most disastrous volcanic eruption in U.S. history. The eruption was preceded by a 2-month series of earthquakes and steam venting episodes, caused by an injection of magma at shallow depths below the volcano that created a large bulge and a fracture system on the mountain's north slope. An earthquake on Sunday, May 18, 1980, at 8:32 a.m., caused the entire weakened north face to slide away, creating the largest landslide in recorded history. This allowed the partly molten high-pressure gas and steam-rich rock in the volcano to suddenly explode northwards towards Spirit Lake in a hot mix of lava and pulverized older rock, overtaking the avalanching face. An eruption column rose 80,000 feet, or 24 kilometers, into the atmosphere and deposited ash in 11 U.S. states and 2 Canadian provinces. At the same time, snow, ice, and several entire glaciers on the volcano melted, forming a series of large volcanic mudslides that reached as far as the Columbia River, which is nearly 50 miles or 80 kilometers to the southwest. Less severe outbursts continued into the next day, only to be followed by other large, but not as destructive eruptions later that year. Thermal energy released during the eruption was equal to 26 megatons of TNT. The huge ensuing ash cloud sent skyward from St. Helens' northern foot was visible throughout the quiet zone, which is an area extended radius of a few tens of miles from the volcano. The near supersonic lateral blast, loaded with volcanic debris, caused devastation as far as 19 miles or 31 kilometers away from the volcano. The areas affected by the blast can be subdivided into 3 zones. The direct blast zone, which is the innermost zone, averaged about 8 miles or 13 kilometers in radius, an area in which virtually everything, natural or artificial, was obliterated or carried away. For this reason, this zone has also been called the tree removal zone. The flow of the material carried by the blast was not deflected by topographic features in this zone. The channelized blast zone, an intermediate zone, extended out to distances as far as 19 miles or 31 kilometers from the volcano, an area in which the flow flattened everything in its path and was channeled to some extent by the topography. In this zone, the force and direction of the blast are strikingly demonstrated by the parallel alignment of toppled large trees, broken off by the base of the trunk as if they were blades of grass mowed by a scythe. This zone was also known as the tree down zone. Channeling and deflecting the blast caused strikingly varied local effects that still remained conspicuous after some decades. Where the blast struck open land directly, it scoured it, breaking trees off short and stripping vegetation and even topsoil, thereby delaying revegetation for many years. Trees in the path of such a high-level blast were broken off wholesale at various heights, whereas nearby stands in the more sheltered positions recovered comparatively rapidly without the conspicuous long-term harm. And the last zone is called the seared zone, also called the standing dead zone, the outermost fringe of the impacted area, a zone in which trees remained standing but were singed brown by the hot gases of the blast. It was thought that 57 people were killed directly. One of the people killed in the eruption was World War I veteran Harry R. Truman. Truman was the owner and caretaker of Mount St. Helen Lodge at Spirit Lake, near the foot of the mountain. Truman came to fame as a folk hero in the months leading up to the volcano's eruption, after refusing to leave his home, despite evacuation orders. So this guy pretty much refused to evacuate, even though there was a clear and present danger. Photographers Reed Blackburn and Robert Landsberg, and also volcanologist David A. Johnston, were among the dead. By the time this pyroclastic flow hit the first human victims, it was as hot as 680 degrees Fahrenheit, or 360 degrees Celsius, and filled with suffocating gas and flying debris. Most of the 57 people known to have died that day succumbed to asphyxiation, while several died from burns. Lodge owner Harry R. Truman was buried under hundreds of feet of avalanche material. Robert Landsberg, a photographer, was killed by the ash cloud. He was able to protect his film with his body, and the surviving photos provided geologists with valuable documentation of this historic eruption. Hundreds of square miles were reduced to wasteland, causing over $1 billion in damage, equivalent to $3.5 billion in 2020. Thousands of animals were killed, and Mount St. Helens was left with a crater on its north side. The May 18, 1980 eruption was the first and largest eruption, as it was followed by a smaller eruption on June 12th. At the time of the eruption, the summit of the volcano was owned by Burlington Northern Railroad, but afterwards the land passed the United States Forest Service. The area was preserved as it was in the Mount St. Helens National Volcanic Monument. 200 houses, 47 bridges, 15 miles or 24 kilometers of railway, and 185 miles or 298 kilometers of highway were destroyed. 2 people were killed indirectly in accidents that resulted from poor visibility, and more suffered fatal heart attacks from shoveling ash. Something to mention is that there's a minor controversy in regard to the exact death toll. The figure most commonly cited is 57. The direct death toll could be as low as 55 or as high as 60. When combined with the 4 indirect victims I just mentioned, those numbers range anywhere from 59 to 64. However, there are 2 points of dispute. The first point regards 2 officially listed victims, Paul Hyatt and Dale Thayer. They were reported missing after the explosion. In the aftermath, investigators were able to locate individuals named Paul Hyatt and Dale Thayer, who were alive and well. Since investigators could not verify that they were the same Hyatt and Thayer who were reported missing, the names remain on the list of the presumed dead. Which to me seems odd, but okay. The second point regards 3 missing people who were not officially listed as victims. Robert Ruffle, Stephen Winsett, and Mark Melanson. Cowlitz County Emergency Services Management lists them as possibly missing, not on the official list. According to Melanson's brother, in October 1983, Cowlitz County officials told his family that Melanson is believed to be a victim of the May 18, 1980 eruption, and that after years of searching, the family eventually decided he's buried in the ash. Well, that was truly a grotesque tale. What I really don't understand are those people that stayed. I know that there were some who wanted to get footage, so they died for science, really, but I really don't understand people like Harry Truman who just wanted to stay. It's pretty much suicide at that point if you choose not to evacuate and know that there is a threat. May the souls of those lost in the blast rest in peace. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe, like, and share if you would also like to keep exploring our grotesque curiosity. We'll meet again in the darkness of the night.